This is just a short video going over some details of my new VST NeuroBassify. The idea of this plugin is to help speed up the sound design sessions for creating neurobasses. Right here I have an example synth not using this plugin, and this took a while. It has a lot of processing going on here, and that's just due to the nature of neurobasses. If you're unfamiliar with neurobasses and their creation, a neurobass is a Reese bassline or a sine wave, but mostly Reese's, that you put through multiple stages of distortion, then filter, distortion, filter, distortion, filter, and all these filters are moving. So when we play this song, so that's a neurobass. It's pretty loud. They do get pretty loud. So when you're making them, please put a limiter on your master channel. Save your ears. But the main principle of neurobasses is distortion and filter movement. And often you'll have a lot of random LFOs on filters, like notches, high shelf, low shelf, that are just random, and you'll have a couple that are time synced to your song or physically automated in the timeline, and my plugin streamlines the creation of the random ones. So you're not, because you're pretty much doing the same thing every time. You're just dragging in a couple of LFOs, a couple of filters, making them move, putting some saturation, putting some filters, LFO, saturation. You just do that over and over again, and then at the beginning of the chain, maybe middle of the chain, and the start of the chain, you might want some LFO filter movement that is more dramatic and synced to the song or physically sculpted by you in the timeline. So the plugin just streamlines and speeds up the process of doing the little middle bit. I think a good example here is I open up an audio track and I just drag in just dragging a long 808. We want some harmonic richness in the sound, in our sound source. So we've got it here. And now we can drag in, where is it? There it is. Drag in our plugin. Now, the architecture of this plugin is a clipper, a low shelf, a high shelf, a notch, another clipper, a high shelf, a low shelf, a notch, and then another clipper, and then it's to the output. And this little knob here doesn't correspond to anything specific. All this knob does is that whenever it detects a changed value, the filters will move by a random amount in between two numbers. So it will move approximately about 50 hertz every single time a value is changed. That includes the float values as well. And it changes the target of where it wants the filter to move to. And each of the filters are affected differently, so you get a lot of movement. So if I've got this bass, and I make the value change for the entirety of it, when I press play, the filters are all going to move. This isn't a very harmonically rich sound though, so it might not do anything yet. So you can hear the filters moving around. Now if I crank the gain on this, it will drive the clipper at the in the input of this, and it should create a pretty nasty sound, to be honest. And it will start sounding like a Neurobass pretty much straight away. Yeah. Now what we can do as well is let's keep this going a little bit. Add some more saturation, and add another version of our plugin here. Maybe speed up the automation a bit, go a bit crazy with it. It doesn't really matter what you put, as long as it's moving, it will work. Yeah, that's sounding pretty good. I think another round of plugins. Go here, change this automation a bit. Yep. And let's see how that sounds now. That's pretty good, I think. I'm going to send this to the reverb channel. I'm just going to do something real quick. So basically what I've done there is just made a reverb that will sidechained on itself, so it will just it will only reverb when there's no incoming audio. Now what I can do that you would do with bass lines like this pretty often is I can duplicate it, and then I can bounce the first track, and I've got the first track, and this one missing all of its VSTs, but this one's still got the signal chain on it. So now I can drag that here, and now it will be doubled up. I think what I'm going to do is just launch it straight back into it. Quite loud, actually. That's sounding pretty good, I think. I might time stretch it a little bit, pitch it up, export it, pitch it back down, and put it back in. Yep, so I'll pitch this down now. Drag it in here and turn it up. And let's see what we've got now. But yeah, so I think we've got a pretty interesting sound there. So then from there you can put it into a sampler and resample it. That's the approach to working with samples. But very often you want to start with a synth. So we'll drag in Serum just for the sake of simplicity. Like I said, it's basically a Reese. So we'll start with a basic Reese. And straight away, what we can do is we can drive the volume a little bit. And then we can drag in NeuroBass here. And then there we go. Now I'll just play a note for us, and it's got NeuroBass on it. And as you can see, we're already getting the NeuroBass movement from just one instance of saturation filtering. Whereas if you was to do this yourself, at this point, you would already have you would have so you'd have 18 different LFOs and 6 different filters and 3 different saturations at this point, and that's a lot of work to be doing for every single bass line that you want to make. Bearing in mind this style of music as well will jump between bass lines often. So I'll do it again. Something that would take 16 LFOs to achieve, to get them all absolutely random and separate from each other, and there you go. Yeah. One thing that I like to do as well is grab a low pass like this and a high pass. Get that going to filter 2, and then we just grab a LFO like that and an LFO like that. Let's see what that does. I think it will do what I want it to do. Yeah, that's pretty cool, I think. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to separate the sub out. I think we'll make this a triangle, and we can distort it a little bit, just a little bit. See how that sounds. We'll bring that level up a bit. I think that's a pretty clean sub. You know, I'm not liking how slow and repetitive that is, so maybe something like that. Perfect. I forgot to cut the lows of the main one. There you go. And in context with our... I haven't mixed this or anything yet, obviously. I do kind of feel like some more saturation here would be good. And yeah, with drums. Never mind, it'd help if I turn them on. And there you go. That's NeuroBassify for you. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.